Welcome back. In this video, we are going to see the operations that we can perform on a element. Okay, so in previous video we have seen how to how to perform actions on a single element even if there is multiple elements. So in this one we are going to see how to perform operations on element. Okay, so basically what are the operations that we can perform. So prior to performing any operations, first we have to find the element. Okay, so how do we find the element in Playwright? Yes, page dot locator, and then you provide the what is the value, locator value, and then you can put a dot and you can perform the operations on that particular element, whatever you wish to perform. Okay, there are few operations that are applicable on certain elements and few are not applicable on certain elements. We will see what are those. Okay, so first we'll try to click an element. Okay, so I'm going to use the practice pages google.com. Let me open it. So this is the basically article that I am writing, so whatever here I am going to cover the same. Okay, so in these pages you can actually see what is the code that we are currently using. The same code you guys can copy it. It is present as part of our testercoder.com only. Okay, fine. Now let's think. Okay, here we have a google.com and we want to click, let's say for example I want to click about. Okay, how do we click it? It is simple. First we have to find the element. So here we are trying to find it. Actually we are not finding it. I'll tell you the difference. Okay, so first write the locator value. Okay, inspect about. Okay, control of /a and text equal to about. Okay, so by looking itself we should be able to in a question to write the XOR, because this is based on a tag and the text available is about, right? So we are able to write an XPath, and please do watch the XPath video in case if you have doubt on why I have written like this. Okay, so it's a text function and equals to about, and we are writing it, and let's go ahead. So prior to clicking it, let's click manually. So I'm going to click about page and see what is present here. Okay, the same page should open if I click it through the script as well. Okay, so for that purpose I'm going to use a click function. Okay, so in this one we are going to see the basic operations that you can perform on an element. Okay, so click function, and I'm going to add a sleep here for maybe 4 seconds so that we can see the web page actually opened. Okay, so here I have a code to open the page and I'm trying to click it. Okay, right click and run it. This is a different file, so I right click and run it. So it opens the same page. All right, yes. So there is a difference between other automation tools and Playwright. Okay, what the difference is here, if you see page dot locator, XPath, and then dot click, what happens is when you write this thing, actually if you write this thing, actually nothing happens. Element even not even found at this particular stage. We have written a locator, that's all. This is almost similar to in Selenium you write by XPath, and then you can put it in a double bracket or whatever, however you are using with the XPath. Okay, only this much we are doing it here, nothing more. Okay, so this does not find any element. Okay, for example, let me save this element into about. Okay, about equal to this thing. Okay, now let me run it. This time it shouldn't click or anything, it just opens the Google page and ends the script. Okay, so nothing happened here. It looks like it is finding the element, but in actual it does not find it. How do I know it? If you ask me, let's see here. I'm going to write something. Okay, here you see I have written something there is no way it is going to match anything in the page. In case we have a doubt, let's check that also. Most probably it is not there, but who knows, man. Okay, so it is not there, no element is matching. Okay, if nothing is happening with this thing, means element shouldn't be found. If element is not finding, we will not get any error. But in case if this finds an element, then what we should get is element not present error. We have to get it, right? Now let me run it. See, I did not get any error. So which means that this is called a locator. Okay, this is, maybe you can call it as locator value, but this is completely as by.xpath or something, only that much. It is not finding any element. So what happens in our Playwright is, first we write the locator, nothing happens. The moment you try to perform an operation, then only it will find the element and click that element. For example, in case if you are using click, for example, if you are using a fill, once you put a dot fill, then only it will try to fill it, find it and fill it. Okay, if I write plainly like this, it is not going to make any change. It's just some variable, nothing else. Okay, this is by locator. Now for example, if I add a click now, okay, so not here, let me add it in next line. About dot click. Okay, see here only I am clicking. Now if error comes, it should come in the line 13, right? So I'm going to give a timeout of 5 seconds. I don't want to wait 30 seconds for the video and the duration, so just I'm going to give 5 seconds. Okay, now let me run it. After 5 seconds we should get an error. See, it says that waiting for this locator, and that element timeout happened because there is no such element, right? Fine. Now let me remove this extra thing, whatever we have added. For this thing there is one element. Okay, now if I execute it, let's see what happens. See, now it is able to find it. So one thing you need to remember in Playwright is, this does nothing on the web page. Okay, it doesn't even find it. It's just a locator. The moment you try to perform an operation, then only you will get then only it will find the element and then it will perform the operation. So now you might have seen what is called stale element reference exception in Selenium, in case you are familiar with, but you will not get it with Playwright. The reason is here, only here it finds, not in this particular spot, right? Fine. So this is how you click it. So with the click we are providing a timeout, which means that if it cannot perform this click within 5 seconds, here it is in 5000 milliseconds. Okay, so which converts to 5 seconds. So if it cannot find in 5 seconds, it's going to give us a timeout error. Okay, so that's what this is. Again, if you want to perform other stuff, again you can perform it. Okay, so here you will have different things: typing list, delay, button, click count, how many clicks you want to click it. Okay, button, which basically means like whether you want to click the left button or right button or middle button. So if you are a person who is using a wheelless mouse or a laptop, then there is a chance that you might not have seen a wheel. The wheel looks something like this, for example, in this thing. Okay, so here this is left, maybe for you it looks like a right in a video. Okay, and then this is the wheel is the middle button, and then right button. All right, fine. Now we have performed the click operation. The next one we are going to perform, let me take it, a fill operation or send keys. Okay, fill operations we are going to do it. So let me comment this thing. Okay, so let's go to Google page and see. So fill operations can be performed where you can enter some text. Okay, then only you can use the fill operation, otherwise you cannot use it. Fill operation is nothing but something like sending the text, not typing but sending. Okay, typing is different. Okay, sending a text into a text bar or a text area. Okay, all right. Now find this element. Let's find this element. Okay, what it says is inside, and here you can see text area. So probably there is only one text area in this one, but we are not sure. Let's try. Text area matches. Two places actually it matches. Okay, sometimes when with locator you cannot find it, so you use a different locator, like for example XPath. Now you see two elements are we are able to find. So one is with CSI. This is not the one we are looking for. This is the one we are looking for, because when I highlight here, it's here also it highlights. So here what else we can use? We can use the name queue. Okay, so I'm not going to use XPath. I'm just going to use name. Okay, and this is a CSS selector way of writing. Okay, so throughout this course, sometimes I use CSS, sometimes I use XPath interchangeably. Okay, I hope you have gone through the CSS video as well as the XPath video. Okay, now I'm going to put it into a single quote. I prefer writing like 3 quotes outside, triple quotes outside, double quotes again inside, and single quotes inside. I don't know, somehow I started writing that way and I follow it the same. Okay, for sending a text or setting a text in a field, we will be using the function called fill. Fill accepts 2 parameters, not 2, multiple. The first one especially is the value you want to set. Okay, for example, I want to set let's say what Playwright. Playwright is a nice thing, so we are going to set a text called Playwright in Google search. Right. Now we are filling it. Along with this fill, again you have a other parameters as well, like you can give a timeout and all, like within how much time it should set that particular value. If it is not setting, it should fail. Okay, you can keep setting those values as well. Now with a fill, everything is good, and again I have 2 seconds of sleep. Okay, and then now let's run it. It is able to set it. Okay, it is able to set it. Now we did not press the search button, so it is not giving any error. Okay, we can make it, we can click it, the search button, but what I'm going to do is, instead of that one, I'm going to explain 2 other methods which performs the pressing an enter button. Okay, let's say for example you want to press a button. Okay, the difference between filling a text and pressing a button is this: pressing actually from your keyboard, something like a tab, caps, shift, control, alt, such kind of keys you can press. Okay, and you can press numbers as well, other things as well. Okay, any Unicode value you can press it. Okay, so we are going to press enter button here. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is here play, write, and press enter. This is how normally we do it, right? So the same thing I'm going to simulate with Playwright. Okay, so here we are going to press the button. Okay, page dot locator, the same locator, for example same locator, I'm going to press command D. For example, if you are using a Windows, it's a control D. For Mac, it is a command D. It will basically duplicate it. Okay, it is only in PyCharm, not in Eclipse. In Eclipse it will delete the line. Okay, just to be aware. Okay, so here the same locator we want to use. Instead of a fill, we want to press the button. So for that I'm going to use a function called press. Okay, so that's it. So here I have given a press enter key. So if you want to know more keys, you can just control drill down it, control click it, and here you can see the values, the key values that you can press. Okay, here also you can see what are the keys that you can press. All right, fine. Now let's execute. opens a Google page, types Playwright and presses enter. Right. So this is second thing. So instead of a fill, I can perform some other operation as well. So I'm going to put it here and I'm going to comment it. So instead of a fill, as I was talking about something called typing. Okay, the typing is nothing but pressing a button by button with the delay. Okay, let's see that. Page dot locate. Typing is nothing but just like simulating your keyboard actions. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it. Here I'm going to say type. Okay, this is typing. So what I want to type? I want to type Playwright. Okay, now what happens with the type is it will try to type a letter by letter. Okay, now let's run it and let's see whether it types letter by letter. See, it typed quickly and it pressed enter. But let's say you have a situation, you want to press letter by letter with 5 seconds gap, not 5 seconds gap, let's say 500 milliseconds gap, 0.5 seconds gap. For that, you have to use a parameter called delay. Delay, how much I want? I want 500 milliseconds delay, that is 0.5 seconds delay. Now let's run it. TLA, for each letter it gives 500 milliseconds gap. Okay, so if you are not convinced, let me give 5 seconds and we'll see 1 or 2 letters typing and then we'll leave it. See, it takes 5 seconds of a gap and then the next and then the next. So you may have a question, why should I use a type when I have this fill? You might have this question. Even I had this question. So there is situations, okay, in while you running automation, sometimes you have to fill a form or some field so that the save button or some button gets enabled. Okay, so sometimes when you fill it fast, that particular button might not get enabled and you cannot click it. So in such cases you can use type. It actually types one by one. By the time that save button or whatever it is, it will be enabled. Okay, so that is one situation I find this type helpful. Now you might have a question in your mind, why can't I, after filling the thing, why can't I use a sleep for 5 seconds or 10 seconds? That also will make it, right? Yes, that also makes it. So you can choose any ways. Okay, but what I will choose is this. When I cannot use the fill, I want an alternate. In such cases I will be using type. Okay, type is not a substitute for fill, but only when fill is not working, then you can use the type. Okay, fine. We'll go to the next comments. Next, what is there? Now we have covered fill, set text case, and pressing a keyboard key, and something else I have. Yeah. Okay, next let's get the text from the text bar. Okay, so there is a difference. Okay, what is that? I'll tell you. The text from a text bar. This is the text from a text bar, and this is the text from the element. There is a big difference. Okay, this is text from text bar or any input field. This is text from an element. Okay, both are different. We'll see that one also, this one also. We'll fill it up, we'll finish it up the text bars first. So for that, let's say you are filling the thing. Let's take this fill. You have filled it. The typical use for this getting a text from text bar is like when a field is already filled by default, some value is filled. In such cases it will be helpful, because when we fill it, we know it actually what we are filling it. So this time it might not be useful, but when it by default it populates some value, then it will be useful. But in this case also it will be useful when you want to make sure that what value you enter and what value the next page it's propagated, both are same or not. Such cases it will be useful. And there is one more case. Let's say for example you have a text field which accepts 24 letters, only 24 letters, and now with this thing I am going to fill 36 letters. Okay, with a fill I am going to use a 36 letters, but when you retrieve the text from the text bar it should have only 24 letters. In such cases also this will be helpful. All right, fine. Now how do we get it? So basically here we are filling it. Now we have to retrieve it. Why I fill and retrieve? Because I do not have a practice page where by default something is set. Okay, that's nothing else. Okay, locator, the same locator only, there's not a big difference. Okay, this locator only, but what we want is we want to retrieve it. How do we retrieve it? We use a function called input value. Okay, now let's run it. So sorry, this one will retrieve something, but we will not be able to see what it is, so we have to print. So I'm going to print it. All right, see here the same thing got printed here, right? Fine. Now okay, I want to ask you a question. What happens if I fill twice? Let's say here Playwright, and second thing is, let's say my name only. Okay, so what happens now? Will it fill Playwright and Pawan Kumar, or will it fill Pawan Kumar, or will it just say Playwright? After Playwright it doesn't accept. What happens? One thing, one clue I can give you is, with Selenium these two text will be there, Playwright without a space and then Pawan Kumar, both will be there. What happens with Playwright? Any guess? Let's run it on now. That's funny thing. See, the first one is always cleared. Okay, this one will be cleared and the second one will be set there. Okay, that is happens in Playwright. Okay, fine. So this is how you can get the input value. Okay, here based on this one I'm talking. So here this is how you can get the input value. So is there any way that I can get input value other than this thing? If you have that kind of question, for example, I type something. Okay, something got changed here, something got changed here. Okay, in console and all, sometimes the element will have something called a value. Okay, based on that one also you can get it, but sometimes let's say you cannot get it. That is the truth. Sometimes you cannot get it, man. Okay, how do you handle it? Okay, sometimes with the input value you are not getting it because it's not standard element or something, some reason you are not getting it. How do you fetch this value out of it? So for that you have to go to console. Okay, so as of now I'll teach you one command, but I'll be teaching this particular how to use these commands again in a different lecture, because that will go about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to use document dot query selector. Query selector, here I want only one element, so I'm going to use this. Okay, and close it. Here also we have to have a square bracket. So with this one, let's see what is we are getting. We are getting this one, right? So based on this thing we should be in a position to get value, but here it's matching only one. So instead of this one I'm going to use query selector all. Okay, what happens now is it will bring us the node list. Okay, all the matching items. Okay, so here the 0th you have some text, right? If you scroll down, somewhere you can find the same text that you have entered. Okay, sometimes it will be in input text, sometimes it will be in a different thing, sometimes you cannot find it. Okay, somehow I am not able to find it here. Okay, so most of the time you can find it from this place. Okay, when we are handling different advanced things, that time I'll teach you again one more time. Okay, so you check this particular thing using this query all command or document dot get element by id. Okay, using something you have to see it. Okay, so next one we'll move on. Okay, so input text is done. What else is there? Get value from input text bar. Type text instead of setting at one time. Typing we have seen. Clear the text. Okay, let's say once we set it, we want to clear this value. Okay, how do we clear it? There is some function called clear. Okay, this basically clears. Each fill clears it. Okay, even clear clears it. This one fill clears it and then sets it. Okay, now run it. Maybe I am confusing. I am most of the time. Okay, it cleared, but we didn't see it. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 seconds of sleep in between so that we can see. Clear a type and it will be cleared now. Okay, so when we fill, what happens is that it will go to the text bar, it clears everything present and then it fills whatever we have given. Okay, and then using a clear also we can clear the content of it. Okay, that's why it got printed nothing. Okay, even though we are using it. So this is how we can clear a text field. What is next? Get text from the element. For example, here this is a text bar, ignore about it now. Okay, okay, ignore about it and think of these are elements. This is also element, but this is actually a text content. Okay, this is the text value, whatever we are putting it here, and this is the text content. Okay, from these elements we can retrieve the text. Okay, most of the time when we retrieve a text, it will be probably like anchor tag or a paragraph or a division or label or something like that. Okay, now how do we do it? So first we have to write an XPath. What I'm going to do is, here we have clicked it, right? So here I'm going to get it. Okay, now let me cut these things and put it in here and comment it. I'm just keeping this thing so that when you access a video or when I put in a GitHub, you can get this all the things as a text. That's why I'm just saving instead of deleting them. All right. Now this thing here, this about we need. Okay, so here we are finding the about, which is nothing but this element at the bottom. If you can see it, I'm not sure whether you can see it. Here you can see it, right? This one. If you write an XPath, it will be /a, and we will be using the text function here. All right. Now we have to use something called text content. Okay, it will bring us the value from the element. Okay, that's what text content is. How do you say something is a text content? How do you say something is a text content? Okay, let me explain how you can say something is a text content or not. Basically, the HTML starts something like this. Okay, ignore about this thing. I'm just making it for comment hash. Okay, so with this thing, it starts. Let's say anchor tag, and it will say href equal to something, and ignore about href or anything. Just think it up this way. Tag name. Okay, and you may have some attributes here. Okay, and then you will have closing tag name. Okay, so tag name, attributes, and whatever you have between this greater than sign and lesser than sign, or you can say it angular braces, whatever you are seeing here, this is what text. All right, this is what it will always fetch. So I'm going to print it. It is going to obviously print about. I know because we found the element using about now. So it printed about, and this is the text that we are talking. All right. Right. If you are still having a doubt, here we have a search. How search works. Okay, we can match it with this thing. Let's see whether works and all things comes in. Okay, so instead of our text I'm going to write contains paste it and now run it. So this time along with it how search, it should come as here how search works. That's right. Here if you see, it printed how search works along with the spaces that it had. All right, fine. Next, what next? Get an attribute from with Playwright. Okay, let me cut these things and bring it up here. Okay, get attribute with Python. As I was talking about, this is the tag name, this is the attributes. Okay, attributes could be anything. Okay, let's say for example abc equal to xyz. This is an attribute. Okay, and sometimes we will see like a class equal to something and then what id equal to something. This everything other than tag name, whatever is present here, that is attribute. Okay, for your information, if something is left like hidden and there is no value assigned to the hidden, by default hidden equal to true. Okay, when you set a boolean value inside, when you have a boolean as the attribute, by default the value is true. Okay, you cannot set it to false and all, you have to remove it to hide it or unhide it. Okay, so let's see in this one only how search works. We will be trying to get something. Okay, here we have href, right? This is also one of the attribute. Here if you can see it, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, let me use the X bar. So this one here if you see, there is this href. Okay, the same href we are trying to fetch. So when you get an attribute, you will not get the href, but you will get the value assigned for it. Okay, the double quote also will not come. Okay, double quote will not come. Okay, so I'm going to do it, but let me push it down and comment it. Okay, I'm going to print, but how do I get an attribute? For that I'll be using dot get attribute. Okay, so when I try to get an attribute, I have to mention which attribute I want to fetch. For example, here you see class and href. Among these two, which one I want to fetch? I want to fetch href. So provide href and run it. See here, we got the attribute. This is how you can get the attributes. Okay, and then what else we have? Attribute is done, then inner text. Okay, now I'm going to use the same locator, but I'm going to get the inner text. What inner text actually means is, at least to me, but it could be wrong also, no? Okay, think of this like this. You might have seen something like div some element, and then you have your thing, and then you might have close. When I say inner text, that means whatever is, whenever I point to this particular element, it will bring all the text from inside it. Okay, let's say for example I have another. All these things are as part of div, right? So all these things will be fetched, this one. Okay, when I point to this element and get a text. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to this one and get a text now. Okay, let's run it. If you see, this one also fetches the inner text because it is also part of this element. But inner text most of the time is used to see whether whether a particular text is present as part of a group text or not. For example, let's say you have a list of items. In that items, you want to see whether a specific item is present or not. So what you can do is, one way is this: you find all the elements and check each element by element, like whether this text is present, this is present in each of it. Or you can take parent of those all elements and get inner text at one shot and see whether that text is present or not. So in such situations, this will help inner text. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, instead of this one, I'm going to, where is it, point to this one. Okay, first let's say whether we are going to get it right or not. Okay, class /dev. Okay, class we have. Ignore about it. I don't want to go to particular element. I am going to fetch everything from the page. So for that I am going to use /body. Body is the topmost. Here if you see, everything is present under the body. Alright, fine. Now let's run it. Let's see everything comes in. See, everything on that page has come down. So similarly, you can point to a particular parent and get the text from it. Okay, so now at one shot you can check whether the text is present or not, instead of going one by one. But what I ideally suggest, when you have some smaller text to verify, rather than using this one or getting an element and then checking the text content, what I would suggest is write an XPath based on that text, so that you don't have to verify it. By if the element is there, then the text is there. That's what I normally do. Okay, inner text. What about inner HTML? Inner HTML is also similar. It will bring this particular HTML. Okay, so in body, if I run, okay, let me copy it. Inner HTML. Okay, it will bring all the HTML. See here. Right. So instead of, don't use it for the page levels, just use it for when you have something in a parent. Okay, so when this will be useful, getting that inner HTML, think it this way. Okay, you have a element. Okay, it has some color and you couldn't verify it using get attribute. Okay, so how do you get it? That time you can use a inner HTML. So whenever something is changed, it will be there captured in the HTML. So you can get that HTML and verify it, whether some element is there, whether a text is there, whether HTML has a particular attribute or that attribute has a particular value. Such kind of things you can do it with inner HTML. Alright, and then you have a focus. Focus is something like what do you call it? When you are using a tab, sometimes you will get the tab like this, right? This is what focus is. Okay, in your thing you can see. Okay, this is what focus. You just bring that you just make that item as an active item. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it down and then write it as focus. But I don't want to focus it on this thing, but I'll focus it on name q. We'll use, I know what it is, so I'll use name equal to q. This is nothing but the search bar. Okay, okay, basically we cannot print anything. Okay, it just puts the focus there. Again I'm removing. See, the focus is in here. The what you call the cursor is there. Okay, fine. So similarly, highlight also you can do. Highlight is nothing but it just highlights that element. Okay, if you can see it in the screen, it got highlighted and it got over. These two, focus and the highlight, really nothing to do much. Okay, So that's all with the element operations. Okay, there are few other element operations that is for to do with multiple elements. Okay, that we will see in some other video, not in this video. Okay, it's already lengthy. So that's all with this video. If you have any comments, drop an email or drop it or ask it in the forum. Okay, thank you.